Welcome back to Art Laughs with me, Verity Babs. Today I spoke to Sarah Callaghan. I'm here today with Sarah Callaghan. Sarah, please introduce yourself.
My name is Sarah Callaghan. Thanks for having me. So I've been a comedian for this year, it'll be 11 years. And my art background is really like, I did art at school and I really enjoyed it and stuff. And I've always liked it. But never like studied it majorly or anything.
Please can you introduce the piece you picked for us?
Okay, so the piece that I've picked is, it's actually, I can't find the name of it anywhere. I've actually Googled it and I can't find it, but it's by an artist called Kobe Martin, who's sort of like a new artist who I met. I met him like through a friend of a friend, and then I got him on Instagram, and then I went to one of his exhibitions and I just fell in love with him, and then ever since I've just been a huge fan.
Is this something that you like have in your house?
Yeah. So that's the first piece of artwork that I've ever bought in my life. So I love it so much. I love the painting itself because it's very inspiring to me in terms of just the woman sitting on the cloud and the wings coming through. It's almost like it's the beginning of something new, you know. It's like she's been set free and she can go, and that is a very personal message to me. And I love the colours and stuff, and I've never bought artwork before because obviously it's expensive, isn't it? So when I met him, it was I started going to his exhibitions, and when he started like acknowledging me, because he followed me back on Instagram and he found out I was like a comedian, I'm a poet, and I do other bits and bobs. So I think it's like when you know that someone else is another creative, it's almost that like, oh yeah, respect. You know what I mean?
We're on the same team.
Yeah. And so I felt really good. And then he messaged me and said he's selling some stuff at kind of discounted rate. So I was in Brixton at the protest, at the Black Lives Matter protest, and I said to him, look, I can meet you. And he bought it down, and everyone was like, what the fuck is that? So I'm just standing there with this huge painting. But yeah, I love it. I don't know where to put it up though, because it's quite big.
I love the wings coming through because it's not like this traditional angel image of like either sort of kind of baby cherub or like beautiful woman who's very elegant. Like this process of these wings sprouting appears quite violent, like she's bleeding from it,
painful.
And and I guess that is, like you say, this like a really nice metaphor, I suppose, for journeys that are like potentially unpleasant but worth it.
And then, you know, you can see how much beauty there is after, you know.
And I can't help but notice your background.
Oh yeah.
Because when I saw that, I thought, oh, maybe the painting is by you.
Oh no.
But what's your background about?
So this is my book. I write books, and I've written a trilogy of poetry books, and this is the third one in the trilogy. So when I was doing like interviews and podcasts and whatever, I just put it as my background. But yeah, this is actually this drawing is by an artist called Poppy Hillstead, and she does a podcast. She's a really funny woman. She works for a comedy agency as well. I've known her my whole sort of comedy career really, but she also does animation and cartoons and loads of design stuff. And I got her to design all three covers of my book, so they're all the same, but just with different background. I love her style of artwork, man. It's fucking wicked.
I can see some similarities between your background and the piece you've chosen in terms of they've both got quite rough edges in terms of how this like texture of the clouds in both of them, and everything's a bit abstracted. So do you think that is kind of the art that draws you in most?
I think so, yeah. Because I really like pop art and stuff. I like anything with like a message, especially if it's going to be comedic or political. But with these sorts of paintings, it's like, you know, you get real abstract stuff and then obvious paintings. And I feel like this is a mixture of the two. Like it's not abstract, but like it's not clean either. Like you said, it's a bit rough and it's a bit, you know, and I feel like that represents what life is, you know. And especially when I'm looking at a painting like that, it makes me just imagine what the artist is going through when they're painting it, you know, just kind of just relaxed, listening to music, just doing their thing, and like just not really taking it too serious. Step back, it's like, oh wow, look what I've made, you know.
And you mentioned that you're a poet. And obviously, when you're like producing a book of poetry, you have that creative license to pick what visuals represent what that book is going to be about. And I know, obviously, like, don't judge a book by its cover or whatever, but you have to pick something that kind of is representative. So do you think that this artwork is like a nice reflection of the kind of poetry you do?
100%, yeah. And I think that phrase is shit, man. It's definitely judge a book by its cover.
How am I going to know whether it's good or not?
Exactly, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's the first thing that like is you are drawn to, isn't it? So yeah, the first book is called The Ballad, and it's basically, so I'm in the same position every time, right? And so it's me standing there, but my back is to you, and it's like in a council estate, and it's all grey, and then there's a rainbow, which is the only thing that's in colour, and then you've got the paint dripping down from the rainbow like in splatters, right? And then the second book is called From Ashes We Rise, and then that is the same image of me, same estate, but it's burnt to the ground, so it's all fire. And then this is called Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain, and now you can see a little bit in the background, don't know if you can see it there, like, so that's the estate in the background, kind of in grey, and then over the other side you've got all the green grass and the blue skies and all that, so it's new beginnings. And I've actually turned around, but my face is blotted out, which kind of, again, with the splatter, I wanted to represent the, you know, the story continues, isn't it? You know, life is a continual journey, and maybe one day I'll get a face, who knows.
Or also, it's quite nice to have the face left out in terms of like people reading this trilogy. They can put themselves in that position as well. Like, it isn't necessarily you, it could be anyone. And, you know, the idea of journeys being something that we all go through. And artists forever have loved the idea of journeys. Do you think that also comes into your comedy, or do you view them as quite separate practices?
I think I used to. The last two comedy shows I did incorporate the poetry into it as well. But yeah, I don't know now, in terms of like with the pandemic and everything, you know what I mean? It's like, it depends. I like to do them separately because it means I can then do two shows. But I've had good feedback of putting them in it, because it just gives you a little bit of something else in it. But all the shows that I've ever done have always been like a story, you know what I mean? Like big, you know, start, middle and finish. Like some comics, they'll just do like jokes for an hour, but mine have always been really heavily, you know, story based. And I try and do stuff with like a message in, at least, that can, you know, give the audience a little something to leave with and think about in it. Yeah, I don't know. It's an ongoing thing.
A lot of people, and very fair play to them, don't like look at art very often intentionally. And a lot of that is to do with the fact that, you know, loads of the time the gallery space is this really cold, horrible space that makes you feel like you're not kind of like worthy to go in. But when you do look at art, is something that you're looking for a kind of story to hold on to? Yeah,
I think so. Like either a story or like a message. That's why I like pop art and that, because it's like stuff that's got political messages, like fuck the system and, you know, things like that, in terms of like being different, but celebrating your differences, and just like anything that's kind of punk or a bit different, causing a bit of a stink. I love that. I'm really, really drawn to that, whether that's bold colours or the actual, if they've written something across it, you know. Basquiat used to do a lot of that stuff. I just find that really great, because I feel like when people don't have a voice or can't get on a platform to say their views verbally, you know, or in Parliament or wherever you are, to do it through art is the best way. And I think it's the best way to reach people and to make people be like, fucking hell, and to actually listen, you know. So that's what I'm drawn to most.
Exactly. And this thing of the power of art and the power of words combining, like you mentioned at protests, like the imagery that we remember most from protests are like these really creative banners and the impactful words. And, you know, that's why so many history books have photographs in, because that's what we really latch onto. You know, people watch, I suppose, like debates in the House of Commons, and it's like, I've got nothing to hold on to, because it's just a series of white blokes shouting at each other, and that's not something that draws me in enough. But actually seeing visuals and powerful statements, I think, is probably a better way to introduce people to, you know, to big ideas or to, you know, political issues. It's probably an easier way in than listening to, you know, a lecture about neoliberalism. You know?
Definitely, definitely. And also it's a good way to get kids into it as well, you know. It's like, and working class kids, it's not all just for posh people, and it's not all just for, you know, people that are from fucking higher class backgrounds, and it's and just for adults and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, kids can experiment with this stuff. Like, I think, you know, it's only in my adult life that I've actually learned more about it and become more passionate about it. Like, when I was a kid, it wasn't really pushed on me that much, which is strange, because, you know, all these things to do with art, we sing before we talk, we dance before we walk, and we draw and we paint before we can even write our fucking name. So why are these things not encouraged? And like I said, I was quite not shy really, but I didn't really want to talk to anyone when I was at school. When I was a young kid, I felt very isolated. And if the art was encouraged more, then maybe, you know, teachers especially would have been able to get a bit more out of me through that. You know,
give you a voice.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's the biggest way to give people a voice, through art, definitely.
Sarah, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. Where is the best place to follow you, hear what you're up to, and to get your books?
Okay, so probably the best place to get me is on Instagram. My Instagram is at scallaghan1. That's SCALLAGHAN and the number 1. And yeah, I've got you can also like email me or book me for stuff through my website, which is www.sarahcallaghan.com. And yeah, just DM me, and I send out batches of books every week. So yeah, if you want to book. Also, I've got music out. So my new EP dropped at Christmas. It's called the Alphabet EP. It's on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, all that shit. And yeah, I've got loads of bits and bobs happening. So, and I've also got a sketch show with Tanya Moore called the Callum Moore Sketch Show, which is going to be, there's a few little clips on YouTube at the moment, but the main show is going to be done by the end of the year. So comedy, poetry, music, whatever you want, I got it.
So much creativity. I can't believe it. Most people can only do one thing, Sarah. It's not very fair.
We're in a panny. I've got to keep my mind active in it. You know what I mean?
Thanks so much for watching. You can follow Sarah in the ways written below, and you can follow me at VerityBabsArt on Instagram.